Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Hey, what is happening, everybody? Sorry, we're kind of late. I had another stream I was on that I was committed to, and I realized, oh shit, we're not going to get started on the portion that I was involved in until 10. So my guest today, this guy right there, look at that. Look who's here.
I'm ready to do some rocking with Dokken.
Rocking with Dokken, man. We pulled Mr. Brian Arkham out of mothballs, so to speak, kind of. Now you've been on a couple of streams.
Closet.
You've been on, yeah. We pulled you out of the closet. I'm not sure I want to go there, but let's, since I call you sexual chocolate all the time, it's okay for me. But yeah, man, we got you back to do the very first Dad, D-A-D, the Dad series. And we are both dads, and we are both kind of like older dudes, so it kind of fits, right?
Yeah, in fact, it was it's good because we put this off a little bit so I can get my younger people into their beds because now they're older and they fight it like tooth and nail.
Yeah, I bet.
Tooth and nail.
I bet. Tooth and nail. No pun intended, of course.
Never.
Speaking of puns, look who's here. We've got Mr. Dreadful Rick is in the stream with a pun of sorts. He's just the Dream Warriors tuning in. So nice to see you, Rick.
Yep.
Brian McFadden is here. We've got a couple other people. Sorry we started late. I intended to get started at 10, and that was at Brian's request. Most of these will probably be in the 8 to 9 range going forward when I do these, because I am going to try and do these weekly with a whole cast of characters, but it's just going to be one person. It's just you and I tonight. We have our alone time, Brian. And who are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about
Don. We're going to talk about George. We're going to talk about Mick. We're going to talk about Jeff.
Hell yes. Jeff with a J, not a G.
Right. Correct.
We're talking about the Dokken boys.
Yeah.
And essentially the story behind Dad was I'd always kind of wanted to do a sort of a one-on-one sort of series, but there's so many that everybody does out there, album wars and rankings and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what could we do that's a little different? Now I don't proclaim this is vastly different because it really isn't, but what we decided to do and how the Dad series is going to work going forward is that my guest and I will have pre-decided a band that we want to talk about, and we will then look at the bands. And in this case, for me, it's a band I've never done a deep dive on, although I've tried desperately to get this guy to work with me on that, but he said, nah, I'm not into it.
I like this idea better.
What's that?
I said I like this idea better because I don't have to focus on the entire catalog. It's just a little section. And that's going to work a lot better for everybody that's busy and back to work and back to life again. It was easier when we were home all the time and we didn't have shit to do, but that is true.
Yeah, so basically it's going to be a whole assortment of bands that I've not done deep dives on that myself and my guest have decided we like this band, we like certain albums of this band, or we like all their catalog, or we like specific albums of the catalog. And then it was kind of, well, how do we do this if we're just talking about the same album? How about we try to pit two albums that we feel are the definitive album in the band's catalog? Now, there's no wrong or right here. There's no arguing in terms of, I'm never going to talk to Brian if he doesn't listen to me. Or me listen to him. He would probably hope that I didn't. But basically, Brian, we chose Dokken kind of because we've been talking about Dokken for a long time, and we both happen to like the first couple of albums quite a bit. And you decided to do which album?
I picked the third album from 85, I think. Is that when it came out?
85.
85. Under Lock and Key. That was my pick as the definitive Dokken album. That was, and I got to pick first, so I kind of had my choice, first hit choice. So I don't know.
And if I would have picked that, we would have had to have picked another band. That's how it's worked thus far. Now, I picked. You want to show the band I picked, or the album I picked, then, if you would.
Oh yeah, I have a smaller version.
Yep, and it is Back for the Attack. Here, I'll blow you up there.
There you go.
It is small. There we go. Look at that black card. And I never realized.
No less.
Look at that.
Lovely and coifed.
Look at those handsome fellas. Look at that hair, man. Gotta love that 80s hair. That's what made me grow my hair back out long again. And I never realized that.
Feathered, and
if you look at the blue-black stuff in there, it's kind of like an old Hieronymus Bosch type wood carving painting or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if I've ever kind of looked at that.
I didn't either until the other day. I'm like, oh, look at that.
Cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that came out in 87. And what we're going to do is we have a kind of a template, although I don't tell these guys what to do. I want them to give their spin on things. And we'll kind of go through the album. I guess, Brian, it's up to you. How do you want to do it? Do you want to play it that we give some historical facts on the album first and, like release date and stuff like that? Did you look that up or didn't you? Because I didn't under lock.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little bit here.
Have a little bit of history. Okay. And then we'll kind of go through it. And what the sort of idea here is that we'll go through it either track by track or most important tracks. And I kind of did it in a way of like, essentially the bullet points of my thing is, what are the, actually, you know what? I don't have my first question up here. I erased it by accident. Hold on a minute. Hold on. This is so unprofessional as usual, like everything with me. All right. So what makes an album in a band's catalog definitive? 1, quality of songs, number of bangers versus good tracks versus possible fillers or outright subpar tracks. Is the variety of the songs, or are they all fairly uniform and samey? Are there recurring thematic elements? Are there too many or not enough epics or ballads? Things like this to take into account when you're doing your overall track reviews or track by track reviews. So that's kind of where we'll start. And I think what we'll do is we'll go with you first, then come to me, and then we'll go back and forth on the other questions. The other questions would be number 2, just notations on the production and mixing and mastering. Is the album consistent sonically? 3, sequencing. Does the album flow from beginning to end? 4, the length of the album. Is it too long, boring, and is it too long? I don't know why that word's in there.
Too long, boring.
Boring, and does it lose focus or interest? Is it too short, leaving you wanting more? Is it the right length, and why? If so, are there any skippers? C1, and then 5 and 6 questions are replayability on a scale of 1 to 10. Is it a 1 for less than or once a year type listening? Is it a 5 or better for an album that you want to hear occasionally? Or is it above a 5, a 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 10? Is it a banger that you want to hear multiple times in a year? And then finally 6, provide any data on hit singles or chart position or overall sales or chart positions if you can find that info and the consensus by the critics. So as I say, we try to convince each other that we're right or wrong, but that's not really the point of this. It's just to talk about these 2 albums. So, all right, Brian, you're up, man. Why don't you? I left you up, so we'll leave you up.
Okay.
Why don't you talk about Under Lock and Key?
Drunken Metalhead Musings mentioned he's got a comment. Whichever one has the biggest MTV draw is the one I want, and that's kind of like a good starting point, at least for my intro to the band, because I got into heavy music at the tail end of the glam, the hair metal, the LA scene sound, in the late 80s, early 90s when I started getting into hard rock and heavy metal. So Dokken, I knew the name, but I never really checked them out. And then I got into, Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer, and then, grunge happened. So I did not pay any attention to them until I was up late watching VH1 Classic, and they would play old music videos from back in the day, Running Wild or not Running Wild, Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills, old Motley Crue videos, Winger, all that stuff. They would play on rotation. So I was just like up late and watching that, and they came out with the music video for Into the Fire. And I was like, wow, this is actually really good. And so I went over to my computer and I downloaded Tooth and Nail, and I also downloaded Under Lock and Key. And that's kind of where I started. And that was around 2010. I think I was trying to figure out when that was. So I have not been listening to Dokken for very long. And I really only stayed in like first couple albums. I never really checked out any of the other stuff.
Which neither did I. And I'm a big Dokken fan. But after Dysfunctional, I was kind of out.
Right. Yeah, I think I've listened to that one maybe once. So I think when you talk about definitive Dokken albums, it really has to be, at least in my opinion, it really has to be for with that core classic lineup. Like, we talked about Don, George, Jeff, and Mick.
Absolutely.
That's the good stuff. I can't say that the later stuff's bad because I haven't really listened to it, but
it's marginally okay. It's marginally
right.
Okay.
I think that classic era is probably where you need to pick the definitive album from. And
there's a reason, Brian, that George Lynch is coming out and closing shows with Dokken these days.
Right. Yeah.
There's a reason.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, at least this one was my pick. I think that if you go by track listing, track by track, which we can do later, it does have what I feel is the strongest set of songs, especially The Hunter, which is probably my favorite Dokken song, and which also probably led me to gravitate toward this one. Also, I mean, the artwork. This is just so great. Even if you think glam metal, hair metal is kind of silly and not heavy, this is still pretty cool. Just kind of throwback to the times.
Yep.
And so they're all wearing these like, kind of matching outfits, and they got the fog down here, and they're all looking great and striking a pose, and
all those poses, man, those hair metal poses.
Yeah.
Are, and I saw them the first time I saw them was for this tour in 1986, opening for Judas Priest on the Turbo tour.
Oh, okay.
And then I saw them open in 87 for Back for the Attack. Wait. No, it might have still been on this tour. They opened for Twisted Sister when Twisted Sister did the what's the name of the album with the drain on the
I don't know. Again, I don't know Twisted Sister very well.
It's the one after. It was the one after Stay Hungry. Something out of the sewer or
Under the Blade.
No, Under the Blade.
Oh, Out of the Sewer. Maybe that's it.
I forget the name of it. It was one from 87, 86, 87. And then I saw them again in 88 when they were the third band on the bill at Monsters of Rock, which was Kingdom Come. You've heard this story. Kingdom Come, Metallica, Dokken, Scorpions, and Come Out and Play. That was it. Thanks, Brian. And then you had Van Hagar was the headliner, and Scorpions. That was a killer show. I don't remember the last part of it because I was just so hammered on weed and booze and Jack Daniels and all kinds of shit. I was like gone. Perfect way to see a concert.
Yeah, I'm sure you sang your ass off though.
Oh, I sang. I'm sure I sang too. Yeah.
The next morning, it's like I can't talk anymore.
But so for me, real quick, I'll go over my quick intro story because I was there in the midst of it. And Brian pulled the tape for me. I have the CD somewhere, but I couldn't find it. For me, I came along with Dokken pretty early on. I want to say the first thing I heard by them was Breaking the Chains, but the first album I got by them was Tooth and Nail, which was 84 or 83? 84, I think. 84, I believe. And, after doing this now, I'm afraid I might have chosen the wrong album to support, but I probably should have went with my gut. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Is that what year is it? 80.
Yeah, it's 84. Yeah.
84. Okay.
I was going to have this in the background as like a subliminal, like.
Yeah. That's my intro point as far as I have the tape, or I had it. I might have sent it to Marty. I don't remember because I just hate cassette tape, but I might have kept that as a sentimental thing. I mean, look at George's freaking muskrat hairdo.
He's got a little blonde going on.
Blonde highlights on the dark, yeah. And you know, I agree with you. The first 4 albums are quintessentially the Dokken that I want to listen to when I want to listen to Dokken. There's no reason. I have Dysfunctional. I like it. I have the live acoustic thing in Japan. I have the actual Japanese version of it. That's really cool. But, and don't get me wrong, John Levin, who plays guitar for Don's band now, is fantastic. Mick Brown finally retired, I think, 2-3 years ago. Pilson's been out and playing for Foreigner for years, and Lynch has done 9 million things. He's done Lynch Mob. He's done, you know, shit with Michael Sweet. He's done stuff with, you know, Corey Glover from Living Color called the Stereophonics. He's done 1 million albums and stuff with King's X, Doug Pinnick for I forget the KXM. I mean, yeah, and Lynch is one of my favorite guitar players, and he's the reason I come back to Dokken 99% of the time. He wrote scorching killer riffs, but again, I remember going up and skiing in the winter of '84 and playing, you know, Just Got Lucky, and you know that whole tape, Alone Again, and Tooth and Nail, and Bullets to Spare, and you know, Turn on the Action. I mean, it's great stuff, man. It's a great album. Like I said, did I make a mistake? I might have. But I'm going to stick with my pick, and we'll get to why in a sec here. So, Brian, why don't you go through the first question that we talked about, which is the songs as far as your banger count versus your okay tracks versus your meh tracks.
Okay. I think it does really start out strong. First 3 tracks are all pretty much bangers in my opinion. Unchain the Night, The Hunter, I already talked about The Hunter, and In My Dreams. They made music videos for The Hunter and
In My Dreams.
In My Dreams, right? And one other.
I thought It's Not Love.
Yes, too. So those 3. So I think it really, starting on side A, starting out with those 3 is really strong. Those are all really, really strong tracks. Slipping Away is the ballad. Doesn't really do much for me. That's probably the one kind of meh song on here for me.
Right.
I don't skip over it, but it's not like anything special.
Right.
Lightning Strikes Again, though. Wow.
Ripper.
They could have put that at the leadoff track.
Yeah.
Probably. And that may have been a better leadoff than Unchain the Night. But Lightning Strikes Again is a phenomenal song. It's really, it's faster paced than most of the other songs on here.
It's almost their speed metal track or speed track on the song.
Yeah. And Don's vocal performance on this, especially toward the end, like he lets it loose with getting up in the high gear, you know, with his vocals. Excellent song. Switching over to side B, you got It's Not Love, you got Jaded Heart, Don't Lie to Me, Will the Sunrise, Until the Living End. And, you know, I think those are all really, really great songs. If I had to choose a weaker one on that, maybe that's tough. Maybe Will the Sunrise is the weakest. I don't know. They're all really good. I couldn't really say. Again, we talked about they made a music video single for It's Not Love. Jaded Heart. The thing about this album, honestly, the thing about their first 4 albums was the sheer like catchiness of the songwriting in general. I mean, These are all, I mean, there's 7 or 8, you know, really, really strong like earworms in here where I will hear it. And I listened to all these 3, well, the first 4 a lot this last week. And it's funny, just the ones that get stuck in my head, and I just hum and whistle over and over again throughout the day, you know?
Yeah.
Till the Living End is a really good, strong closer.
Killer strong closer, yep.
Yeah. Don't Lie to Me.
And keeping in mind that back in the 80s, you didn't have CDs yet, not yet for this, and you didn't you had tapes. So your side closers were A and B for either tape or vinyl.
Yeah.
And both those are really, really killer ending tracks, no doubt.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're both pretty up tempo, fast paced. Jaded Heart. That's just a really great song too, you know.
See, I feel that's one of the weaker tracks. I feel that one and Don't Lie to Me are kind of the weaker tracks on the album. That and Slipping Away.
Okay. Well,
that's where I would come at it. Otherwise, you nailed it, because Unchained the Night is a fucking monster opener, man. I just love that song. Although the synth sounds a little bit 80s sounding at the beginning, it just has that 80s vibe to it. The Hunter, man, what a great fucking track. Man.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
Song.
In My Dreams, that opening sequence of vocals, you know. In my dreams, you're still the same. Love is strong, it still remains. I can only do that in falsetto. I can't hit that note. But I mean, it's so perfect. And then I would play it, and I was monkeying around with playing a few songs because I know a lot of Dokken tracks. But my acoustic is such a piece of shit with the neck that it's just not going to work. If you want to hear Dokken tracks, go check out my video I posted a couple days ago, me jamming in Guitar Center. It's some really good stuff and some tough stuff because I'm still dealing with a broken left hand. I said right in the video, I meant left, but got a broken knuckle there. But I do Into the Fire. I do Into the Fire on there, and a little bit of Alone Again. I do a little bit of that.
Oh, nice.
But
great song.
Yeah, man. It's Love. One of my favorite Dokken, man. I love that riff. So cool. Jaded Heart, I'm kind of on. It's okay. I don't love it. Don't Lie to Me is kind of catchy chorus wise, but it's kind of the real, almost a pop song on the album in a weird way. I like Will the Sunrise. It's kind of doomy for them in a little bit. It's more of an acoustic-y, sort of dirgy sort of vibe. And then Till the Living End rips, man. No doubt. No doubt. So you got what I did was I just put like 3 stars was a banger, 2 stars was a definitely good track, a plus was an okay track, and then a hashtag was a bad song. That's how I ended up doing it. You don't have to do it that way, but if you had to nail it down, how many bangers are on there for you?
We got 4 on side A. Probably go 4 on side B.
Really?
Yeah, bangers. Yeah, I mean, I think all these songs they get in my head, they stick in my head. I love the Mick and Jeff doing the backing vocals. I think they do that so well.
Oh, yeah.
The way they craft these songs. And
in particular, Jeff Pilson, fantastic voice, man. He is a lot of the high voices actually on the album. He just had such a full voice too. And let's talk about one other thing here. And one of the reasons I like Dokken so much, I came up in that very much in that era of music because that was my high school years, 80 to 84. And college was 84 to 86 until they told me to rethink my college decision. And I left for a little while and came back later. But yeah, that era, one of the things that I think made Dokken very special is the vocals. And they were, you can just think about all the other hair metal vocalists at the time. You had Vince Neil. Okay. If you say so, he's a vocalist. I'd say he's not. Stephen Pearcy. Love Rat. Love Stephen Pearcy. Is he a great vocalist? Not even close.
It's a bit of a different kind of style than what we're talking about here.
Right. And Bon Jovi, he was okay, but he wasn't anything special. Don actually had a very, very, very good voice in this era. He doesn't anymore. I mean, he's really in bad shape. He's also 70 years old and he smoked and drank a lot.
Oh, right now,
yeah, there's that. But yeah, so what the reason I feel and why I have a real affinity for Dokken is they wrote really catchy songs, as you said, really catchy earworms.
Yeah.
Really catchy pop sensibilities, but they still had a really good metal edge with Lynch just tearing up and destroying. And that's not to denigrate. Mick Brown's a really, really good drummer, man. A very, very good drummer. And Jeff Pilson, all around great musician, great writer. So, yeah, very, very good, man.
Yeah, you nailed it there with the, they do have that kind of poppy rock type sound, but what I always liked about this stuff was that kind of metallic edge of his riffs, but they maintaining that melodicism. It's just hooks. Right. They're really great at writing hooks, and from what I understand, I don't know how the writing process went. It seemed like a lot of the songs on this one were. I thought I had writing credits written down, but I don't.
For which song?
I mean, for all of them together, there was a lot of co-writing.
Generally speaking, it was Don, and especially the early two albums, it was Don and Lynch.
Yeah,
Pilson got involved on that album a lot. It was Pilson, and there was a lot of group writes, but it was mainly Don, Pilson, and Lynch that were doing the lion's share of the writing. Yeah.
Yeah, I read somewhere that maybe George and Jeff did a lot together, and then Don would just add lyrics, kind of over that. But maybe that was for Back for the Attack. I don't remember.
Back for the Attack. There's a couple of Lynch Pilson songs exclusively, like Dream Warriors, Mr. Scary, two of the best songs on the album. But a lot of it was Don. It was the three of them that were co-writing stuff, and Mick would pop in on some of the tracks too. And actually, Mick was quite a decent backup vocalist as well. So, yeah. I don't know, Marty. We talked about that with the vocal. I disagree with you. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, I feel that Don at that time was one of the better all-around vocalists at the time. Yeah, he wasn't a screamer. He wasn't rough and gruff like Piercy had that kind of that grittiness to him, but Piercy never could really sing well live. I've seen him since Out of the Cellar. I saw him on the Out of the Cellar tour once, and I saw him on the Invasion tour. He never could cut it live. Don could cut it live back then. There is footage on YouTube of Don on this tour opening for Priest at Philly. I was at that show, and Don sounded fucking great live, man. He sounded amazing live. And yeah, it is a little breathy, and it is a little more melodic. And him and Michael Sweet from Stryper had that really full, throaty, screamables thing. But a lot of those other singers, like I don't know, name some other singers from 80 bands, like Jack Russell. Okay, he was all right back then. He wasn't bad. He was a little more of a Robert Plant guy, nasal. You had guys like Kip Winger. Everybody makes fun of Winger. Okay, I get it. Winger is big joke band, but Kip Winger actually had one of the best voices of that era, man. Still does. But I get it.
Warrant,
things different, right?
Janie, what's his name from Warrant? Skid Row. Sebastian Bach, was pretty badass singer from that era. He came a little later. He did come a little later, though.
He was a little bit later. He was the late 80s, 88, 89, I think was that first album, yeah. All right. You've heard stories about George Lynch. Okay.
I think Jeff might have a story about
I've told a couple stories. I'll tell a couple George Lynch stories. If you haven't heard them, I might tell them again here in a minute.
We'll sprinkle those in here.
I'm going to try to get George Lynch on the show, by the way. So I got to be careful what I say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
It might have been that. I don't know. Yeah, I get it. We might be an argument, I guess.
This is not like a blind review. We're both obviously pretty big fans of this.
Yeah, we are.
The band. So,
and you're right.
I'm good with it. I never felt that it was.
And Marty's right. They were very overproduced back then. That was the 80s era, man. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on making albums, and they just Wallace sounded it, and they, it was just. But I think it comes down to the quality of the songs. And I think, in all honesty, between Dokken, Rat, maybe a little bit of Crew at times. They just had better songs. They just wrote better songs. And Crew is really on the edge for me. I really like them less and less the further I get away from them, to be honest.
It seems like Motley Crue and Rat are like household names, but
Janie Lane, that's a good one. He could sing.
Dokken doesn't seem to. They kind of seem like they were maybe a half step or a step below them in terms of like popularity.
Who was that? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like Motley Crue seemed to be like, the ultimate. Everybody, they're a household name.
Yep.
Is Dokken really a household name?
No, they always kind of labored under the almost there. They were the opener for all the big giant bands, and then when they did the Monsters of Rock thing in '88, they actually Back for the Attack was their most, which we're going to talk about in a sec, was their most successful album. They went out on that tour, and there was all kind of infighting. The Don was going to take over the band.
Yep.
The record company was forcing Don to force those guys to be paid sidemen. In other words, they weren't a band anymore, and the rest of the guys were like, "Fuck this guy." I remember there's a good a documentary out there that talks about it, and Jeff and George are talking about the fact that we're sitting in our hotel rooms and we're hearing about, we get called into this meeting and from Elektra, and they're saying, "Hey, we want to make Don the focal point of the band, and you guys will be paid session guys, and then maybe you'll go out on tour, maybe you won't." And George is like, and you don't fuck with George that way. George is not that kind of dude. And George is like, "Yeah, fuck you, man. I'm out of here." And to me, it was the four of those guys together that made the band really special. You know what I mean? Let me talk about my album real quick, and then we'll move on. So for me, this album, Kiss of Death, comes out November 2nd, 1987 on Elektra Records, produced by Neil Kernon, who I believe also co-produced with Michael Wagner, co-produced the album that you picked.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
For studio, remastered edition includes a bonus track that came out in 2009. It's the band's best-selling album, Back for the Attack, reaching number 13 on U.S. Billboard 200, remaining on that chart for 33 weeks. 3 singles also charted on mainstream rock charts. Dream Warriors reached number 22, Prisoner at number 37, and Burning Like a Flame at number 20, as well as Burning Like a Flame charted number 72 on the Billboard Hot 100. Back for the Attack was certified gold and then platinum on January 14th, 1988. Allegedly, it sold over 1 million copies, or it wouldn't have gotten platinum status. Also, so did Under Lock and Key as well. The single Dream Warriors was originally released in February of 87, so almost a full year ahead of this thing, because it was the theme song for the third Nightmare on Elm Street album, Dream Warriors. The album title, Back for the Attack, was taken from an earlier Dokken song of the same name, recorded during the sessions for Under Lock and Key, but was not released then. It was released as a B-side to Dream Warriors.
Right.
It was later released on the 2009 remastered edition of the album. So the original album did not include Dream Warriors, actually, guys, which is kind of interesting because it's one of the 3 singles, right?
Yep.
All right, Kiss of Death. Fucking banger times 10. One of George Lynch's most killer riffs, man. And it's savage. It's just a savage riff, riff fest. And I love the lyrics to it. Just super catchy. It's got that. It's just got that killer gallop. The solos are monstrous. Just a fucking banger. Prisoner. That's another killer song, man. It's kind of like, quite frankly, it's basically It's Not Love Part 2, if you listen to it carefully. It's just very It's Not Lovey Part 2. Love it. Heaven Sent is a really heavy ballad. It's a ballad, but it's got some balls to it, man. And the chorus, it's basically Alone Again. If you listen to it, it's almost Alone Again if you listen to it. But the riffy chordal bit right before the solo kicks in, and it takes the song to another gear. All right. Then we've got the banger times 20 song on the album. We've got Mr. Scary. Dude, it's still one of the best instrumental savage riff fest of all time. Like George just goes ape shit on it. The fucking melodies are insane. That chugga chugga it's so good. I love that song, man. And it is super fucking hard to play. Trust me, I can play bits and pieces, but I can't play the whole thing.
You know, I think in the music video for The Hunter, there was a shot of like them in a hotel room or something, but it was those, I don't know, those still frame shots. But I remember written on a mirror or something was Mr. Scary.
Yep.
And so I didn't.
That was George's nickname, Mr. Scary.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, that's where they took the song. Then it was a Pilsen and Lynch song, but Lynch's nickname was Mr. Scary because he can be intense. I'll tell a story about that in a little bit.
Yeah,
you've heard it, but some of the other people maybe haven't. But Marty, if you don't want to hear the George Lynch story, you want to duck out before I tell it.
You'll put full. You'll give a notice.
Yeah, I'll give a reprise performance of the George Lynch story. And George, if you watch, I love you. I do want to talk to you, man. I think you're great. You're one of my favorite guitar players. So, what do we got here, real quick? Yeah, Vince is terrible, man. Just absolutely terrible. Blackie was fucking fantastic. Still is really, although he's using a lot of backing tracks live now. You saw him, right, Brian?
I did not end up going to that show. No,
you didn't go.
We were playing with Armored Saints. No,
yeah,
I didn't end up going.
Okay, I thought you had gone to that one. Yep, very unique vocal without question. So, yeah. All right, where were we at? We're at Mr. Scary. So Many Tears, great ballad. Smokes, love that killer chorus, man. Don's voice sounds really, really great on that song, man. Only so many tears you can cry. I can't get up there tonight for some reason, but Burning Like a Flame was a huge song for them. Really sort of poppy. It's kind of like Night. Oh, I missed a track. I missed Night by Night. Third track, Night by Night. Sorry. That's the first song on here I'm not loving. I'm going to be honest. It's kind of an okay track. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. It's an okay track. It's not a skipper, but it's an okay track for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Burning Like a Flame, man. It's like I said, it's poppy, but man, that chorus is just too great. I will love burning like a flame. Don't you know that it's our love? And then, because every time it hits me, it just makes me go insane. Don't you know that it's... Anyways, I'm a little drunk, by the way. I drank this whole thing, so I'm not drunk.
Ooh, Angry Orchard.
I got a buzz. I never had one. They're pretty yummy, actually.
Yeah, they go down smooth.
Kind of like an aperitif drink.
It's a cider.
It's a cider. It's good. Lost Behind the Wall. Heavy Fist in the Air anthem. Banger of a track.
Yep.
That's Stop good. Fighting Love. Okay, it's a semi-ballad. The third ballad on the album, by the way. It's not love, but a little more underrated and less overtly poppy. Although the chorus is, it's not love again. It's not love. Stop fighting love. It's not love. It's just the same notes.
They definitely have a theme, of lyrical ideas.
Yes. Don was.
He did not stray much from that.
Don didn't stray much from the basic stuff. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't too out there with that stuff. I think his singing is very breathy on that song and pretty cool. And there's some great killer solos on it. Cry of the Gypsy. I gotta say, it's the first skipper. It's the actual skipper for me. I just not crazy about that song, other than George's solos on it, which are killer. Sleepless Nights. Yeah, it's another skipper, man. Like I could skip those two tracks in a row. They don't do much for me, which will tie into how I'm gonna sew this album up in a second here. Mm-hmm. Good Lynch playing, but again, it's just kind of a meh song. It doesn't do for me. But it closes on probably the second or third strongest song of the album. I would say the strongest song on the album is obviously Kiss of Death and maybe Mr. Scary, but that's an instrumental, so maybe you would say, that's not a real song. But Burning Like a Flame's up there too. But Dream Warrior, man. Come on, man. Come on. It's a fucking banger, man. It's a banger of a song, man. It's just so atmospheric, and Don singing is, I wonder if these other times. I forget the lyrics.
I wonder if these heavy eyes will.
I wonder if I close my eyes.
Will face the unknown. That sounds right.
I didn't look the lyrics up. I probably should have. But
I wonder if these heavy eyes can face the unknown.
Yeah. That's it. I wonder if these heavy eyes can face the unknown. And then he does, when I close my eyes, I realize. And I cannot do these highs. I'm sorry. When he does a forever, oh, in the dream warriors, don't want to dream no more.
There's going to be a lot of this tonight. Just fair warning.
Well, no, we did all the songs, so I'm kind of done now. I could have sung some of the songs off your album, but
yeah.
But yeah, man. And Prisoner, that's another great song on here, man. The second track. And if you notice, they kind of followed the It's Not Love sequencing sort of thing, because Jaded Heart and Don't Lie to Me are towards the end of the album, and so are Sleepless Nights and Cry the Gypsy. So, and it ends on a banger. So for me, this is a strong 8.5, 8.75 album. But I kind of started thinking and looking at Tooth and Nail and going, man, did I make a mistake here? Did I fuck up? I kind of think I did a little bit. I do.
Well, if you're going by certain metrics, you didn't, because it is their most.
It's their most successful album.
Sold the best, correct?
Yeah, it was their most successful album.
Yeah,
highest profile, and that's why I kind of look at it as the definitive. But let's be honest, there's probably 3 definitive albums: Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key, and Back for the Attack.
Yeah, I think you can make a strong argument for any of those 3.
All right, so
yeah.
Where are we at here? We're at so I got 4 mega bangers, 5 bangers, 2 solids, and 2 skippers. That's what, and I think the biggest problem, and we'll get into that in a second, with this album for me is its length a little bit. It's a little too long for what it should be, which I don't think is a problem on Under Lock and Key.
Yeah, Under Lock and Key is about 42 minutes. This one's pushing an hour.
62 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you got to say on production for your album?
Produced by Neil Kernan and Michael Wagoner, who I believe was the guy that stepped in on Tooth and Nail toward the end of it to kind of tie that up after they were having problems with their differences of opinion on that album. So
there was a lot of fighting between George and Michael Wagner.
Right. Yeah. So he's back. Neil Kernan, recorded and mixed. I don't know. I listen to this a lot on YouTube. Kind of when I was at work, and then when I was home, I'd spin this. Somebody in the chat said there's a remastered version. I don't know if I've heard that. Maybe I have with the YouTube version I was listening to. But I think I don't know. I think it sounds good. I think all their albums sound good for the most part. I think as they got more albums under the belt, I think they progressed. I think each album sounds better than the last if you go from the first 4.
Right. Oh, for
I think it's definitely got obviously the experience.
Yeah.
Tends to do that. I don't know. I think it's mixed well. I think they did really well, like we were talking about earlier, with the backing vocals.
Yes,
playing a key role in the mix. I don't know. Yeah, I don't find the vocals thin at all. That's just me personally. I think
too, George's the vocal hooks are pushed to the front, which they should be because they're a prominent selling point of the song. Yeah. And then George's guitar is a prominent selling point, and his tone on these, in particular, that album and Back for the Attack, these last 2 albums, is super up there. It's as I say, sonically it sounds great. It's a little dated because it's the 80s. It's 80s production. It's what they did in the 80s.
Yeah.
Lynch's guitar tone is sick as fuck. Probably his most aggressive on this album, on Back for the Attack. Saturated but not overly processed, so that it loses balls. And the lead tone is, it's George Lynch, man. His lead tone is fucking legendary to me, anyways. You know, not much difference between, for me, the under Lock and Key tone and the this album. They sound very uniform.
Yeah, I listened to them a lot back to back this week, and yeah, they
which is interesting Brian, because Under Lock and Key, I believe, was prominently produced in just 2 studios, or recorded in 2 studios, and Back for the Attack was recorded in a bunch of studios. And when that happens, you usually get sort of a mixed bag of sound, and I don't hear that here.
Sounds pretty cohesive.
Yeah, and once again, the presence of the drums on all 80s albums is sort of, it's 80s drum sounds. It's what they did, and they reverbed everything to hell. Mm-hmm. Everything sort of has that slapping echo vibe to it. It is what it is, right? The bass is solid. I could have heard a little more bass in the mix on it on both these albums, but you know, because Pilson's a great player.
Yeah, sometimes when maybe George is stepping back a minute.
A little dominant,
though. You hear Jeff.
Oh yeah, right.
Bass, come through audibly. Yeah.
Well, you can hear him quite a bit on Mr. Scary if you're listening closely. You can hear him doing a lot of nice playing on that. Don sounds great. He's high in the mix. He was a co-producer, I believe, on the last album. And you know, Lynch is the star, though. Lynch is the star of this band at that point in time, and that created a lot of problems because Don was looked at as the star of the band. It was his band name. He brought that band over to Germany to record the first debut album.
Yeah.
Because George was in a band called, I think, The Boys. And I think Mick was in that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Right? The Boys, right? Is that what it was called?
I don't remember the band name, but yeah.
Was it Steeler? No, Steeler was Yngwie. Exciter?
Yeah, XCITER.
Exciter, yeah. But they were called The Boys at one point too, I believe. And you know, so a lot of egos in this band, a lot of big egos, in particular George and Dokken mostly. And the record label was going, yes, Don. They were whispering in Don's ear, going, "Hey, man, you don't really need these guys. We can." And interestingly enough, they were sort of kind of right to a degree. Because Don went on, and I think in 1990, after this album, when they kind of broke up after Back for the Attack, he put out a solo album with Billy White from Watchtower, Mickey D, obviously from, you know, Scorpions and Motorhead and, you know, all kinds of other bands he played in. Peter Baltz from Accept, the early version of Accept. And then you had John Norum from Europe. And, you know, you've got that album. And that album fucking kills. It's amazing, you know. What's it called? Up from the Ashes, right?
Up from the Ashes, yeah. It's got some great songs in there.
Amazing album. So, Rob, I'll get you a comment in here. I do want to comment on that then. All right, sequencing. How about you? For you, I think on both of these albums, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say. Well, I mentioned it earlier. I don't think Unchained the Night is a bad opener. And I don't think Lightning Strikes Again is a bad ending. I think you probably could have switched those, and I don't know.
Under Lock and Key.
I really don't know. I think
Under Lock and Key is kind of Brian, Under Lock and Key is kind of a really atmospheric, sort of darker, ominous sort of sound. The way it starts out,
you know,
it builds into a more of a heavier rock piece.
Yes.
So, but you're right. You could have stuck that somewhere in the middle or something, or maybe beginning of side 2 and started with one of those, you know, heavier, more ripping tracks at the beginning. But that's a pretty damn near, pretty close to perfectly sequenced album for me.
Yeah, they put the ballad at 4 on side A, which is good. Like they start off with 3 really strong songs just to get things going. Bring in the ballad, end it with Lightning Strikes Again. I mean, that's a pretty great side. Side B, I don't really have any complaints with.
Yeah, so, I think too that like on Back for the Attack, they start with two bangers with Prisoner and Kiss of Death. I mean, obviously the opener is just, you know, just like it's the ripping track on the album other than Mr. Scary. And it ends with a really great track. And then they leave the two dog tracks near the end. Now, my biggest problem with this album, and I'll get into this on topic 4, is they could have chopped Sleepless and Gypsy off this album, and it would have been close to a perfect album for me. Those two songs build it out to, you know, over 50 minutes, pushing 60 minutes. And frankly, they're just not that great of songs. And that was the two songs I kind of forgot about. Night by Night's kind of weak too. It's kind of has an AOR sort of vibe to it. The chorus is okay. The rest of it's kind of eh.
That's funny because it's like that. The chorus on Night by Night, the chorus is kind of what kind of boxes for me. I don't really
sells it
much for it.
It sells it, yeah.
I don't really, Night by Night, I don't really get the chorus.
But actually, again, it's got a lot of good George Lynch on it, so that's kind of what keeps you involved if you're digging this album.
I think "Cry the Gypsy" is a very strong track. It would be
that song.
It would be one of my strongest ones on here. It's one of the ones I like the best.
Really?
Yes. And here's the thing, Mr. Scary, I'd be one of the ones I'd drop off. I don't really.
Oh, come on, sacrilege!
I don't.
Sacrilege.
It doesn't do much for me. Same thing, and here's the other thing. Same thing with "Burning Like a Flame." It's one of the strongest tracks on here, you know, according to the literature.
Kind of
doesn't really do much for me.
It's very poppy. It's got a real pop vibe to it.
But I would agree. Kiss of Death, Prisoner, very, very good. Lost Behind the Wall might be my favorite song on here.
Oh, that's a killer.
I think that's great. And Stop Fighting Love is really good too. Dream Warriors. I mean, you get on a major. I mean, that was a big movie. You know, that was a big franchise at the time.
Yeah. So
I
gotta believe I gotta believe that helped out their. But I mean, Prisoners like that. Baby, I'm a prisoner. Whoa. Chained by love.
Yeah.
It's so easy to see. I can never be free. I'm a prisoner chained by love.
And then it goes, yeah.
So good, man. So good. Chained by love. Anyway, let's see. How about replayability for you on your album?
I did not get tired of it digging back into it this week, and I listened to it a lot. I listened to this one a lot too, and I listened to the Nail a lot. And I really don't. It's something you can put on repeat, at least for me. And I'm just not tired of it yet. Maybe it's because I haven't had decades of listening to it. You know, it's only about 10 years I've been listening to this stuff. So
no, I still love these albums. Those three albums, man. I can listen to them anytime. For me, the replayability for me is probably like an 8.5 on my album and yours, for that matter. Yours may be slightly even better. I mean, I'm kind of admitting defeat. I might actually admit defeat. I probably should have went with Tooth and Nail, which we won't bring up anymore because that will have to be a different episode, maybe. But
put it's going to be breaking the chain and Tooth and Nail head to head.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, actually, at some point in time. But real quick on this album, mine sold 1,027,060 copies, allegedly. I don't know where I got that from, some SoundScan thing.
It was
went to number 13 on Billboard Top 200. 1987, Under was at 32. Under came in at 32, whereas this one came in at 13. And Tooth and Nail was 49. So it kind of shows you how they were building, right? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. It was a steady progression.
Logan, the song I was singing was from Back for the Attack, not Under Lock and Key. Come on now, get with the right team, man. Prisoner's off of the first album. Prisoner's off of Back for the Attack, yeah. And what else?
Behind the Wall is a great stomper.
Which one?
Lost Behind the Wall.
When you're lost behind the wall. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Another great mid-paced.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
Cheers, Nick.
Look, Devin has to point out. I admitted defeat. I didn't say I was defeated. I just said I'll give it to Brian tonight.
In Jeff's defense, he did let me pick first, so
I did. But it's really, I think, Brian, I think you'd agree with this. I think you could go with tooth and nail, under lock and key, or back for the attack, and not really be sorry that you did with any one of those.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. In fact, this is the one I probably spent the least amount of time with until the beginning, and I put it on a few times. Like, yeah, it's okay. I wasn't really. The more I listened to this, the more it sank in. It's got some really, really, really strong tracks. It is a little bit long. Drop off a track or two, that would probably help it. But I mean, Dream Warriors is one of their strongest songs,
For sure.
That's just a fantastic song. They made a music video for that one. They made a music video for Burning Like a
Flame.
Did they make a music video for that one?
They did, yeah. And actually, we're going to look at a little bit of that. I thought as a
tie-up,
we do a little video of we do The Hunter, and we do a little bit of Burning Like a Flame.
I was hoping we'd see some of this because you just can't. This is great nostalgic stuff. This is like, back then, radio was big. Oh, geez.
Oh, huge.
Radio was huge for exposure. And then MTV came in and kind of changed the dynamic. You had to have a single with a music video, get it played on MTV, if you wanted to make it. And back in the 80s and when I started watching it, it was the MTV was littered with this kind of stuff with Slaughter and Warrant and Motley Crue,
another good one.
Winger, Faster Pussycat, Tesla. Even though Tesla's not really. I mean, they had that song, the one hit. I'm not the one hit, but the one they made a video for in like
which one? Tesla?
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
The ballad.
Huh?
The ballad.
Love song.
Yeah.
Love will find a way.
Yeah. That was a huge song, and so.
Yeah, they had a couple other ones.
With a hit song, you those numbers start to go up, and.
Yeah. Tesla's another great band that I hope someone wants to do with me because that one, I love their first couple albums too. But
there we go.
But yeah, I mean this riff, it's so good, man. It's so good. Yeah, I can't do that because the E string on that thing's fucking roached. But yeah, so a couple quick notes, then we'll do a little bit of video, and we'll get these are normally going to be in the 45-minute range, but tonight we had to talk a little bit to sort of run the sort of the protocol,
lay the playing field.
What this series is going to be about. So people check out, kind of check out what this is going to be going forward, which I'll talk about in a minute. Oh, my George Lynch story real quick. So I meet George Lynch. I met him twice. He was opening for Lynch Mob was opening for Yngwie Malmsteen back in, oh my God. Wow. The 90s sometime, late 90s, I believe. And after the show, he came out before Yngwie went on, after Lynch Mob did their thing. Yngwie was fucking around forever. He was just taking literally like almost 45 minutes to come out on stage. People were yelling stuff. And this was when Yngwie was very fat, like super fat. And I kept yelling.
That's polishing off of a bucket of fried chicken.
He's dropped a lot of weight since then, but I was yelling, Yngwie, there's a Krispy Kreme truck out front. And I was saying it really loud. People were laughing, right? So at the end of the show, Lynch just comes out, and a few people get autographs. I walk over, I start talking to him. I'm like, hey, what's the leg opening up for Yngwie? And he kind of rolls his eyes a little bit. I said, I was the guy yelling. He said, I heard somebody yelling things about Krispy Kreme trucks out there. I'm like, that was me, bro. He's like, I like that. That's cool. So we ended up hanging out talking for about 45 minutes to an hour. I have a photo, not a digital. This was back before camera phones and all that shit. And I have a photo of him and I hanging out talking, and he was super cool. But in 2013, I went to an in-store, I forget what they call them. It's a signing session, but he would also play tracks. He would jam over to the tracks being played live, right? He had like a computer and would play the tracks through the PA in the place, and then he'd jam over it. And at the end of it, I asked him a question about the Don thing. Nobody else was talking about it, and he and Don weren't talking back then. I said, hey, you know, what's going on with you, Don? Do you think you and Don will ever, you know, he's like, well, a lot of that's media made up. I'm not going to get into it because it'll be a headline on Blabbermouth and blah, 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 blah. He said, but just suffice to say that what you hear about is not quite the reality of it. Don and I don't really speak a lot, but we're not like enemies. That we don't wish ill on each other. And now he's closing a lot of Dokken shows for 3 songs on the encore. So they're in a much better place. But a guitar clinic, thank you, sir. Yes, I couldn't think of the word. So yeah, Nick, you're just in time for the George Lynch story. You knew it was coming. I mean, come on, man. And then he was signing, and I happen to know someone very well that knows his wife and him that go out to dinner with them in LA and shit like that. And I walk up and I'm like, there's a dude right in front of me, 3 guys, they're getting their shit signed. They're talking to him about his guitars that he was starting to make back then about 10 years ago called Mr. Scary Guitars. And they're like, oh, yeah. We're going to, oh, yeah, send me the information. Oh, here's my email, blah, 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 blah. And they took up like 15 minutes while this line is sitting there waiting. I get up to George. He signed my stuff. I say, hey, George, I'm friends with Gene Kirkland's wife, Ann. He's like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, they're good friends with my wife. And I said, and these guys got a picture ahead of me, right? And I'm like, can I get a quick picture? And he's like, no, dude. If I give you a picture, I got to give everybody a picture back there. I'm like, those guys in front of me, you just take a picture. He's like, dude, if I do it for you, I got to do it for everybody. I did it for them because they're thinking about buying a guitar. I'm like, oh, I get it. If I said I was going to buy a $10,000 guitar, you'd take a picture with me. I get it. Okay. So, George, you did do that, whether you just having a bad day or whatever. If you're watching this, if you do come and interview with me, you did do that. I'm just saying. I love you still. You're one of my fucking biggest sources of inspiration. One of my heroes. But yeah, that did happen. All right.
It's funny.
Real quick on this before we send it off. Dream Warriors went to number 22 on Hot Mainstream Rock Tracks. Burning Like a Flame went to number 20 on Billboard Album Rock Tracks. Number 72 on the Billboard Hot 100. And number 78 on U.S. Singles Chart for 1978 or 87. I didn't look up the stuff for Under Lock and Key. You want to do that while I throw a video up quick?
Yeah. Let's see. So released 85 Elektra Records. The reached 32 on the Billboard 200. Remained on that chart for 67 weeks. There were 2 singles, radio singles. The Hunter and In My Dreams.
Yep.
Both reaching number 25 and 24 on the mainstream rock chart. Looks like certified gold in 86, platinum in 87.
Yep.
And there was also one other thing that I found interesting. Rolling Stone did a top 50 greatest hair metal albums of all time. You know, they did a feature in one of their magazines. This came in at 21.
21.
Yeah, for Under Lock and Key.
Probably higher than Back for the Attack.
Yeah, it's funny because this was the only Dokken album on that list, on that Rolling Stone list. They had a couple other bands that had like 2 or 3, you know, albums on the list. Like I think Motley Crue had 2. Who else? Def Leppard, I think, had Stereo and Pyromania. So this is the only one that they put down there for Dokken. But yeah, Rolling Stone's a pretty. It's not a metal magazine, but it's, you know, it's a different.
No, that's pretty impressive actually. So
big rock.
God has a really beautiful place out in New Mexico, up in the foothills of the mountains, and it looks like it's a pretty nice place. So I think he did pretty well. I'm guessing. You know, he's done. You know, what was he? Did he reach like, you know?
It was amazing. I was thinking like he didn't reach like Bon Jovi, Motley Crue,
right?
status. You know, he didn't get as big as those. They weren't selling.
Right, they didn't headline the arenas. They were the opening band, but they made good money. Trust me.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up your song, "The Hunter."
Yeah.
Make sure I got this right here. There we go.
Yeah, this is the one that's got like the kind of the still frame type thing going on in parts of it. There we go. There.
I love this riff. I can't play it though because my pinky's not ready.
He's just out looking for love.
Huh?
He's just out looking for love.
He is, man. I know that feeling. Like kid, once upon a time.
Kicking some trash around.
You know that I always will.
I'm not sure what's going on in this part of the video.
Who knows?
It's like an angry mob. Oh,
it's like a Frankenstein hunting them with pitchforks.
It's like, yeah, it's like Sparrow Don Dokken.
There was a lot of cheesy bad videos back then, dude.
Bring up the dog. There's a reference to the PMLC there.
Nick got it. MAGA rally.
Torches, yeah, tiki torches and pitchforks.
I'm guessing all the MAGAs would think that all these guys are actually girls. They're trans or something, probably. Yeah, they're chasing because of that.
So he was with ESP guitars, right? At the beginning.
What's that?
At this time, he was playing with ESP guitars.
He was playing, ESPs. Correct. I think he also played Charvel.
Okay, yeah.
That Tiger is one he built out of parts.
I've seen it in a couple of videos. The Tiger stuff.
He still has that. That's one of his. And actually, he's coming. Remind me to tell you about that. He's coming close by later this month.
Lynch Mob?
Not very long, Devin, I'm sure. Love those chords you use. That F to G.
There's Mick. He was smoking earlier. Now he's drinking a beer while playing drums.
Yeah, Mick partied pretty hard, man.
Don was going for the natural hair look in that video. He didn't have a lot of hairspray.
No, that didn't look very product heavy, did it?
No, he looked.
All right, so we'll do the other
all natural.
We'll do the other video for the video song. I mean, I would prefer to play one of the better songs off of it, but I'm going to do the video song because we did it for your album.
Cool. Which one?
Going to do "Burning Like a Flame" because the video is so bad. It's
you know,
such
I don't know if
such a silly video, dude.
All right. She's at the fire station.
Time and time and again, I thought that you would be gone. Still, we kept on hanging on. I guess it's meant to be.
The poses.
Still belongs to me.
A little animation mixed in here.
Very early animation, 87, yeah.
But now it's to the test.
Nick smoking again.
We survived. Let's go open a chance. You gave the key to your heart.
That high part is Pilsen there.
Used to say that I'm not sincere. I'm gonna prove that
Outing.
you're wrong. I'm never gonna leave your arms. Should've waited up before. Your love's worth waiting for. Don't you know that it's hard? That's burning, burning, and you know that it's hard. That's never gonna change.
And Rick is on fire. He's been drinking in that. I can tell. He's got lyrics to the Hunter, basically my daily pickup line. He also had this really good one back here. Hang on, there you go. I'm telling you guys, for barbecue cookouts, Into the Fire alone, replayability.
Oh, yes, yes.
You were gone. I couldn't say the words.
They're a volunteer fire department and a hairband, exactly. That's exactly not all we're leather fans.
And they only set about 50% of the fires that they put out. So that's
true.
Good. A lot of those were
You
naturally.
know the fires they were generally putting out were of the female variety. Let's put it that way. That's where they were putting the fires out. They were using their hoses a lot.
Oh man, this just opened up a whole new kind of a whole new.
Good for you. I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute, just so you don't have to be.
I'm good. I have to.
We got suspended.
What?
Yeah, Rhino came after me, the fuckers.
Already? Did they shut the video down?
Yeah. I wonder if they shut the stream down.
It says it's still live, but no way.
Did they shut the stream down?
Doesn't look like it. Let me check real quick again. Nope, still. No, yeah, it's suspended.
They took my fucking stream off.
Yeah, they did.
You motherfucker.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Wow.
Well, I wanted to just.
Well, the good news is I'll snip that off the end and I'll put it back up. Motherfucker.
Oh shit, that just happened. So that's it. They cut it. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's do. Let's wrap up and hopefully I can
Do you want to are you still is it still like being recorded?
Well, we're still recording. So what I'll do is I can edit it in YouTube. I can go in and edit the videos out
and then repost it
and reload it. Yeah, I don't know what else I'll do.
Yeah.
Hold on. I didn't think they'd do that. Oh, I wanted things to get started. Dream Warriors, boom. I played with a fireman and got burnt. Yeah, oh well. So there you go. I don't know. Are you going to be up for a little while? Should we do a post thing?
Yeah, let's do a post thing. I'm up for it.
How about you post? I can't type very easily right now. Can you post in there and see who would be interested in a post hang? And I'll create a stream. Yeah. Brian, you, Logan, Nick. This Brian McFadden dude, I don't trust. He's a weirdo.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a very strange dude. I just don't dig him. I guess I'm not going. It looks like they killed the
video.
No, yeah, they killed that, but I meant the vinyl archivist.
Oh, they're done.
I think they. I told him I might come back, but I think they're done.
Oh,
no, they are still going on.
It says we're back. Or everyone in chat says we're back.
Oh, we're back.
Live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to cut those out, I think, especially the last one. See, the Hunter was not on. I had a little bit of a worry about that because I saw that Rhino had posted the burning like a flame thing. So, yeah, I don't know. What I'm thinking about doing here is I'm going to end after Brian. I do some quick summation thoughts, and I think we'll end. And then I'll fire up a separate stream that anybody that wants to jump on can jump on over there. I'll get you links. Brian said he's game. I don't know about Rick.
Yeah.
Rick,
sounds like Nick's up for it.
Yeah, Rick, Nick, Logan.
Devin.
Who else is in here? Phil, you're always welcome.
Oh, yeah, Phil.
Devin, why don't you jump in, douchebag? Rick. Yeah, jump on with us. I'll see if some of the other dudes are available. But I want to I think I want to wrap up here with just a quick summation of the bottom line is you really can't go wrong on Dokken with any of the first 4 albums. Is there a stronger album? I got to tend to believe that maybe the second and third albums actually are a little better than Back for the Attack simply because they don't have the filler that I think that Back for the Attack does because it's longer. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's a band that I would. Here, I'll solo you up. Did you want to pull something up?
Well, I was pulling this one up again, looking at the track listing. It's
yeah. Give me that track listing real quick.
Super, Without Warning.
Tooth and Nail.
Tooth and Nail. Just Got Lucky was a single, I think.
Got Lucky. Yep.
Heartless Heart. I like that song.
That's a good tune. Good poppy hard rock song.
Don't Close Your Eyes is another
it's killer
really
song.
Great one.
Yeah.
When Heaven Comes Down.
Killer song.
Into the Fire. We talked about
amazing
that
song.
Really
amazing song.
Bullets to Spare. That's a fantastic song.
Love that song. Cause I got bullets to spare. Yeah.
Alone Again.
Yeah, the epic ballad of all ballads.
Turn on the Action. I like Turn on the Action.
I like Turn on the Action a lot. Yeah. I made a mistake. I should have taken that. I kind of fucked up. But anyway. And then Brian says, buy the greatest hits. Yeah. I have the greatest hits, believe it or not, because it has 1 or 2 songs that aren't other stuff. But by the way, Devin, where's my Dokken Forgotten Old Songs album you were going to send me years ago? Remember that? Your brother got it for you, and you're like, I'll never listen to this, and it just ended up in your closet, and you're like, kind of like a lot of things end up in the closet at your house. Just saying. But yeah, how about you? Any final thoughts on Dokken?
No, I'm going to echo your thoughts. The first 4, you really can't go wrong. I think the Tooth and Nail and Under Lock and Key are probably definitely the ones I go to the most. Great songs, great everything. And if anybody's in the chat like Logan, who's kind of kept an arm lengths away because of their glam or hair metal, they're really a little bit of a different
I think so
type of band than the Crew or the Rat. They really have a lot. There's a little bit more of that pop sensibility, which I think bodes well, with their songwriting. They just write really good hooks,
Right, great hooks. They have great guitar playing. Really good songs. I would put them and Rat kind of in the same category. Rat wrote really good songs, great guitar playing. The vocals aren't as great. A lot of people, Marty sort of not shit on, but he kind of came in and said, Don's, they would have been so much better with a different vocalist. Maybe, I guess, but I mean, I often think Ozzy Osbourne stuff would be better with a better vocalist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point. I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of that stuff.
Ozzy's never been the greatest singer for me. Would Ozzy's stuff, what would it be like with Ronnie James Dio singing over it? Or, a singer that year that was like a Blackie Lawless or something. Like, one of the things about Wasp, who we definitely somebody better pick that band. Marty, I don't know why we're not doing Wasp, but I already did.
Yeah, there's a good one.
But anyways, we need to do Wasp. But yeah, I mean, it's if you're scared of them because of the hair metal tag, don't be. They're not a glam band. I don't think at all. I really don't. And they do, yes, there's a little bit of pop, but their shit is undeniably catchy, good songs with great guitar playing, really great vocal hooks, great verse chorus stuff. I mean, it's just they're great songwriters. Don's a great songwriter. George is a great songwriter. So
yeah, they were a great writing team
at that time in particular.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to end it here, and we're going to do another hangout thing in about 10 minutes. I got to go to the bathroom and grab something in the kitchen, so I'll fire that up. I'll get that out to. Let me know in the comments if you're going to jump in. Nick, Drunken, Logan.
Yeah,
Rick.
I think Nick throw out Necrotic. Nick said he'd be down for sure.
Phil, let me know if you want in. And I'll check in with a couple other dudes if they're not too hammered at their. Which I'm wondering about Rick. I'm just curious.
Yeah, hey, it's tomorrow's. Nobody should be laboring tomorrow. So.
That's right. Everybody, you can be like Jeff tomorrow. Lay around in bed all day.
Hang around. All right.
All right. Last thing.
I'm still full screen.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I do that sometimes. I get yakking and I don't realize that we're not both on. Real quick,
down.
coming up. What is coming up? Shit. Oh, Friday night I might be doing something, but I don't know if I'm allowed to actually talk about it yet. So
no spoilers.
But there might, no spoilers, but there might be something going on that myself and Rick are involved in. Keep an eye out for that. Also, real quick, I got to look at my schedule because there's just so much shit. So yeah, on next Sunday, I'm hoping that Marty's going to join me, where we're going to talk about Iron Maiden. I have the thumbnail made up. But if he isn't joining me, next up on the list would be Devin doing Mastodon. So, Devin, be prepared to go this coming Sunday, next Sunday, or the following Sunday. Marty is actually in line. I took you guys as you chose a band and hit me up. And we've got Phil, Chromie D is going to be on. We're going to do Judas Priest.
Nice.
Stained Class versus Defenders of the Faith. Marty and I are going somewhere in time. Me versus Killers. Devin, Blood Mountain versus me, which is Crack the Sky for a Mastodon. Van Halen, Matt from the Accusation Network. I'm doing Van Halen 2. He told me, but I forget what he's doing. I forget which one. Logan and I are doing Soundgarden, Bad Motor Finger for me. Super unknown for him. Lee from Literal Lee the art guy. I forget what he changed his name to. Do you know?
I think it is Literal Lee.
Is it Lart? I think it's
Literal
Art Talk or Art
Heavy Art Talk, maybe.
Heavy Art Talk. That's it. Yeah. Lee and I are doing Pink Floyd. I'm doing Animals. He's doing Dark Side. Surge. This is a weird one. I was shocked by this. I've known Surge for 25 years and I did not know this, but Serge and I are doing Queensryche. I'm doing The Warning. He's doing Promised Land. How about that?
Okay.
And otherwise, the only other thing to announce is we've got the Rainbow Deep Dive is going to slip into October because of schedules with me and Tom Draper and Craig Bierhorst. The other thing to announce, on the 7th or 8th, I don't have the date locked in yet, but I am interviewing Jason McMaster from Watchtower and Dangerous Toys.
Nice.
Hawkwind with Melinda on September 14th. Full deep dive on the first 10 years. 9 albums in one. There you go. Look at that. Although he's not on that album, though. He's on the first one.
Oh, I just got this one.
Yeah. And then
he's on the first one?
Yeah, the first one. Control. What's it called? Not Control and Resistance. Something disassembly. Forgot the name.
Energetic
disassembly. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Hawkwind 1970 to 1980. So it's 9 albums and 1 live album with Melinda. And then on September 17th, Eric and I are going to finish up Jethro Tull's studio catalog. We're doing the last 11 albums from 79 to 2023. And I think that's it. So, again, if Marty can't join me next Sunday, we'll probably do it the Sunday after that. But, Devin, be ready. And I think that's all I've got to talk about right now. Forgotten Metal Gems, I think, has slid to the 28th with Dennis and I talking about Kick-Axe, Slaughter Extroyers, Laz Rocket, and Sortilege. And I think that's it. The Paul Masvidal interview, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm hoping I get him in. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm going to have to hit him after early this week when he's back from his small little tour he did. Prog Metal Island coming either the end of the month or early next month. And I think that's it. And then Rainbow in October and more shit. So, all right, man. I think we're going to write anything you got going on. Brian, what's going on with you? Are you doing any? No.
YouTube videos? No. Just bounce around here and there.
Well, I mean, let me ask you. I'm just going to put you on the spot.
No.
No?
No,
right
good. No, I was good.
No plans to ever reignite it, or are you just right now not really into it?
You mean no, I don't have any plans to like start doing like solo videos and collection updates again. I'm not to say I will never. I just don't really. It's just not really interesting to me right now. I never really enjoyed doing it. I liked interacting with people, but I also liked doing these collaborative things every now and then. But it's just it's busy and I'm lazy, so it's kind of a combination of things,
I got you. I mean, it does, for someone like me that doesn't have, my kids are grown. I can't work. I can't really work, not really work. I'm waiting on the disability thing. If that doesn't go through, who knows what will happen. I'm waiting. Got a lot of doctor's appointments the next couple days. By the way, go check out that guitar video and shit all over me if you want, but I want people to watch that more. Keeping in mind, I have a broken fifth metacarpal joint here that's healing that was making it kind of tough. I'm not doing a Rush Dad because any band I've done in a deep dive, I'm not doing. Not until we run out of bands, and there's a million fucking bands, so we're not doing that. And yeah, I know, Nick, that's cool. I thought of a band. I'll have to remember what it was, but I thought of a band that we could probably do. But anyway, yeah. Cool. So I'm gonna fire up a separate stream after this.
Let's do it.
This went on an hour and a half. We never intended it to go that long, but
that's still pretty short.
I probably should have known. And you know what? In the future, we're probably going to avoid the videos because I just don't think that's going to work too well.
Yeah.
Probably would have gotten away with playing a song maybe that was posted on somebody else's YouTube channel. But the video, the visual, and the music together, probably not a good combo when it was on Rhino's site.
Yeah, triggers that algorithm. Shut it down.
So hopefully, if they just black that part out, but I'll find out. We'll see what happens. It could have maybe...
It'll be interesting to see, yeah.
All right, I will get links out to people that want to come in, and I'll hit some other people. Brian, I'll hit you up in about 10 minutes, all right?
That's good. Yep.
Thanks, everybody, for being here on the inaugural Dad episode. We appreciate it. It was great to finally be out with this guy, wherever he is. He's over here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite and letting me skate by with the doing this instead of the deep dive of the whole discography. This is cool.
Absolutely. Now, you know what? This is going to be fun. These are going to be fun because I think they'll be in the hour range from now on, but 45 minutes to an hour. But I think these are going to be a lot of fun to do. So people won't be so, oh shit, he texted me again. I really want to help the guy out, but I don't want to tell him I don't want to listen to 14 fucking Mastodon albums. I don't have the time, that kind of thing. So. All right, guys. Peace out, everybody. I'll hit you guys personally with links then.
Later.
All right, man. I'll catch you.